You know, we look forward to working with everybody else that's interested in coming along.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So Mark G, I know Mark mentioned he went to a workshop in Chicago. It was probably a 6.5-hour workshop where we talked about covered call strategies, we talked about selling vertical call spreads, and that really was what kind of sparked his interest and got him going down the options path. So, Mark, you tell us a little bit about your, maybe it's a journey. What did your journey look like to go from not utilizing options with clients to where you are today?
Yeah, the journey is we were always using some options in some of our concentrated equity positions, even in our relatively small practice. But we attended, I don't know, 3 or 4 of the exact same seminars that we're talking about with John Kaufman. And then as we started to look at it, one of the things we looked at is saying, you know, option strategies had eluded most of the RIA businesses because of a couple of points. First, there was a lack of experience in that. And certainly doing the types of things that we're doing now, there was a lack of experience of getting it across multiple portfolios at the same time. Doing it a one-off was not as difficult a process as now saying, hey, let's start to manage this process in a different fashion. With the concentrated equity positions, you know, it was kind of the simple thing. We're writing calls or we're selling puts. And so the option strategies were simpler than some of the ones that can actually take place through the use of think or swim. And more importantly, is coming up with a strategy, and I was going to add to what you said, is that what we did is we started calling the desk. And we said, what about this idea? We think this is going to happen. How are we going to do this? And one of the portfolios that we did it with was all over the map. We had mutual funds, we had ETFs, we had individual securities in it. And we went to Steve and we said, okay, hedge this portfolio. And he did it. And we put it on. And it worked. And you know, there was a gold component in there was an Apple component in there was ETFs, and we wrote options against ETFs that weren't even in the portfolio. And it all worked. So the strategy desk became a key assistant in saying, how do you go from wanting to do it to actually being able to do it? And that was the big part. How do I actually make this happen? And when you have people like Steve with 18 to 25 and years and years of experience doing this, they see things that you and I can't possibly see. They see relationships that, you know, you and I are looking at long term. We're looking at portfolios, and they're saying, no, this is how you protect that. This is how you make more money doing it. So maybe a little bit of a long answer, but that was really, I think, an important component as we did it. Because we couldn't figure out how to do it effectively and efficiently, and Steve's team really pulled that all together for us.
Yeah, so that's great. So one of the offerings from the strategy desk is that Steve and Scott Snyder will ask a series of questions. We'll ask about objectives and goals for a portfolio or for certain positions, and then Steve will help formulate some ideas. Ultimately, it's up to you to execute the strategy. It's up to you to pick the strategy. But Steve will help generate some ideas based on what your criteria and what your objectives are.
Hey, Jeff, I'll add one thing, because it's actually, if you decide that that's the strategy, in other words, they're not going to say, this is what you absolutely have to do. They're going to give you a strategy. And you say, I don't even know how to enter that trade. They'll take care of getting people to enter it. So it's even more than just coming up with a strategy and then you have to implement it. So part of the education process, and you want to talk about it too, Mark, is really influential for you. Part of this ongoing process was, in the education process, was to actually have Steve True say, okay, well, we can get the guys to put the trades in for you if you tell us that's what you want to do. So it brings you along at a level and a pace that, you know, the guys and the gals over here that already have experience in options, you know, it might be a little bit easier transition, but for those who don't have a lot of experience, Steve's team will take you through the whole process.
So, you know, maybe I'll take us a little different direction, and Mark Hale, the question.